Hey, we're back, Chef.
Another week.
We made it. Another week. This is Ed, this is Chris, and we are here to do a virtual tasting with you like we do every week, or try to do every single week.
Try.
There was that one week where I was
Only
sick.
one.
Yeah.
Only one out of what? 54 weeks, something like that.
Something like that. We've been on a good tear.
Pretty impressive.
So
quite the collection.
The virtual tastings will continue, even though, well, I guess some people are coming out a little bit more. We've noticed an uptick in tourism a little bit. I mean, the weather helps. It's been beautiful, sunny.
Oh,
The vaccines, I think, are helping a little bit.
yeah, I got my first shot yesterday.
Yeah, and no ill effects.
I mean, feels like a shot.
Yeah, just a
That's
shot.
it.
Yeah, and then the weather being nice helps. So we're kind of gearing up. I mean, the phone's been ringing a lot. People booking caterings and people are
Little
ready
events.
to do little. Yeah, not massive things like 200 people, but 30, 40, 50 people. So that's
all
fun.
it's all doable and manageable, and of course we have a gorgeous deck out here too. So
Yeah.
all the flowers will be popping soon, and just a great time to be outside or be inside and get out of our cocoons.
Let's hope we get through with no more ice and snow, so we can continue doing the things we love to do. Of course, we're here every Thursday night here at ONS doing our tasting in person. So when you're ready, come see us. But until then, let's talk about virtual wine tasting.
Or do both.
If you want to come by and pick up these wines, every Thursday we do 2 wines here virtually. We do 4 in person, but if you'd like to pick these bottles up, take them home and taste along with us, just call the winery, or you can message Chris or I. We're usually pretty accessible for that matter. And
Absolutely.
Chef, with this weather, I got to be honest with you, I've been craving white wines a lot.
Well, yeah, you were talking about it earlier that it's hard not to get the fever.
Mm-hmm.
Even I've been craving white wine lately. That's something to.
So
to
that
be
being,
said.
let's start with a nice springtime varietal, Savion Blanc. I always think of Savion Blanc in the spring, particularly with the foods that chefs been preparing for our chef's table in our restaurant, where there's a lot of peas and spinach, these new crop veggies, the first ones that pop up, and Savion Blanc. Yeah, Savion Blanc loves all these green things and asparagus that we've been able to acquire here because the ground is not frozen anymore. And these green things love Savion Blanc, so we've seen a lot of green in our dishes, which is beautiful.
And it's we're just thinking green right now. I don't know about you. I'm sure your yard is going through a metamorphosis
It's
right
green.
now, but.
Yeah,
Yard's
looked down
green. I've
yesterday.
got irises are up, daffodils are up.
Yep.
Tulips are coming up, and it's just a really exciting time. The promise of spring.
Now let's not forget about those spring onions.
The spring onions were the first out,
Yeah,
and I've still got to hose those. But I just now cut back all the stuff, butterfly bushes and banana trees and all that stuff from the yard. So that was fun to do this week because everything's growing again.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have some green things in your dish, Savion Blanc really likes those. And so we're going to start with Savion Blanc, a great springtime drink. In my opinion, it's one of the most thirst-quenching of wines. So if you're one of those people that loves to have a nice cold beer after they've mowed or done some yard work, pick some onions.
Or just woke up.
Yeah, or just woke up. This is a thirst-quenching wine, in my opinion. And no one does it more prominently than New Zealand. Now it is it's not for the sheer volume that they produce, but they do produce a Savion Blanc style that is, I don't know, people kind of associate this flavor, this smell with Savion Blanc. It's a little bit more assertive than French or California, but it's something that clearly people love because we see more and more New Zealand wines on our shelves.
The quintessential profile on this. So you just you can't miss it.
Yeah, it checks all the boxes for Savion Blanc lovers. Now, this is called Satellite. It is from Marlborough, New Zealand, which is probably the most famous New Zealand region. And if you don't know, it's made by Spy Valley. Spy Valley, probably considered the best of the best when it comes to winemaking in that area. That is certainly up for debate. There's lots of great wineries down there, but maybe the most well-known higher-end winery, I would say, we can at least probably agree that it's probably the most famous higher-end, and Spy Valley's been doing it for a very long time. As a matter of fact, I remember having one of their higher-end wines. It was $50 to $70. I can't remember which. And this was in the early 2000s, and they were one of the first high-end wineries in the world to put a twist off on what people would consider a premium wine. So they've been innovative, or it's certainly protective of their product, because a lot of people, they like the ambiance of a cork, and that is great, but there's a security in that twist off that is unbelievable.
100% yield.
Yeah,
100% yield.
You don't come across. I've never come across a cork like a tainted bottle that was in a twist off. Not yet.
I mean, I'm sure it's possible, but nothing in the world like the cork. The cork it has a very relatively high rate of failure.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah.
And so when you have a small production, New Zealand, like Ed was saying, a very prestigious region, but they're not prolific by any means. A very small wine growing area by acreage. You don't want to lose percentage points of all your bottlings to the romanticism of a cork. When you're talking about a process that takes 3 seconds, why would you risk the quality of your vintage when you could just put a screw cap on?
Yeah. And white wines particularly. Yeah, there's always that freshness factor. Now, if you have a barrel-aged or barrel-fermented Chardonnay or Viognier or Chenin Blanc or Riesling, where you're looking for long-term aging, you probably do want a cork because you want a little bit of weirdness going on in there. But as it goes for Sauvignon Blancs, typically you're not. I mean, that's 99% of the time. Typically, you're not looking necessarily for any bottle aging elements to appear. You want to keep it fresh and clean.
Absolutely.
This one is certainly that.
So bright.
Yeah, this is a beautiful one, and a surprising amount of color here for a Sauvignon Blanc.
Very grassy for a Sav Blanc.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. It's got all those green notes that are going to complement green notes in your food, but it's not just exclusive to green things. It goes great with chicken. It goes great with seafood, and of course cheeses. I mean, Sauvignon Blanc and cheese is fantastic. That high acidity that really cuts through the fattiness and the proteins of particularly when you're getting into goat cheeses. There's an amazing pairing right there. Probably the easiest pairing.
It is tomato mozzarella.
Yeah.
Tomato mozzarella of the wine world, for sure.
Goat cheese and Sauvignon Blanc, they are lifelong partners.
And they belong together.
Yeah.
There wasn't a forced thing. There was just they belong together. It's a wonderful combination.
So, what kind of food do you think you'll throw at this?
As luck would have it. As luck would have it. Well, first of all, we're going to have a gorgeous sea scallop. We got a beautiful Oak Island sea scallop that we're going to do a hard sear on. And I did a beautiful emulsion today of fresh asparagus, celery, and goat cheese.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so it's very thick. So I took some fresh egg yolks from our man Kai.
Yeah, Jay Roberts was just here.
From Kai's Hens. And so local egg yolks. I did a little celery reduction, some blanched asparagus, some lemon juice, a little rice vinegar. Pureed that up, lifted it with olive oil, and finished it with some Chev.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's going to be great. It was delicious, and it was really great emulsion.
Yeah, I would never think of putting goat cheese in emulsion. That's
I wouldn't
pretty
if
sneaky.
it weren't for when you told me there was Sav Blanc was on tap today. I wouldn't have finished it with that, but boy.
Yeah, he didn't know what we were drinking, but I did ask him if it was okay if we had a Sauvignon Blanc, so he at least knew that. Try not to tip him off. I like to see his reaction.
Well, it's true. Normally he doesn't even say that. He just said we're having wine.
Yeah, I like to see his reaction.
But I did get some insider info. And of course, we were looking at the asparagus this morning, and so it just all came together. I had this really pretty celery fumet. I'd made a lot of it the other day for something, and so I used a little bit of that in there to brighten it up too. So it's going to be great with this.
Would you like some more?
Maybe just one little sip.
Yep.
You're so kind. Thank you.
Well, I think you can basically pick up from our conversation how versatile this wine is. The grape is known around the world for showing its terroir, and that's one of the reasons people like New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs. They do tend to stand apart from the other ones. But I still think just about any Sauvignon Blanc is still delicious in its own right. I still think it's in a certain flavor profile, kind of in a range that doesn't deviate too much. But you can certainly tell Sauvignon Blancs apart from their regions. If you had just as simple as this, if you had a California, New Zealand, and a French Sauvignon Blanc, I feel like you could get 3 out of 3 blind tasting every time.
You should, if you've had multiple bottles of each region, you should be able to nail it.
And with the same thing, I think if you had a Sauvignon Blanc with 2 varietals of other varietals, whatever they may be, let's say Chenin Blanc, Pinot Grigio, whatever, just pick 3. One of them has to be Sauvignon Blanc. I do believe you'll always get the Sauvignon Blanc right. So Sauvignon Blanc has a range within itself, but it's also incredibly identifiable and beloved because of it. Because there's really no other grape that gives you the notes that it does, no matter where it's from.
It's true, and I would say also, and you can probably shoot this down if you want, but the French Sav Blancs, it's probably one of the few French wines that I've had that's not overly blended. That they do like the expression of the Sav Blanc, and they still blend with it, but
they blend in white Bordeaux, but.
It's
Sancerre,
not
Sancerre, 100% Sauvignon, and that's probably our favorite white from France. I can't think of another one that. I know there's a lot of great ones. Don't get me wrong, but there's something about Sancerre.
Yeah, Sancerre should have a special place in your heart. And now you can. There are better wines. Clearly that you can get that, but Sancerre. And it's like that. On so many levels, it can be enjoyed with such a variety of things. But it is a special.
I guess it was 2 weeks. Was it 2 or 3 weeks ago at the chef's table? We had a beauty.
Well, it was 2 weeks ago.
And we may or may not have had a bottle.
I think we had to open an emergency bottle.
Oops!
It was an emergency.
Well, you get the idea. Sauvignon Blancs are delicious. They can be quite elegant. They can also be very verbose, very overpowering.
Yes.
Not overpowering, but very
pronounced.
Yeah. So you can find that range that you like. This would be on it's elegant with a little kick.
It has, especially as it warms up a little, you get that grapefruit really comes through.
Yeah.
It really comes through at the end, though. It's not on the front.
But I don't get like the pithy bitter. It's more of like the fruit.
It's floral.
Yeah.
Fruit and floral, and the French is more minerally.
Right.
It has more minerality.
Absolutely.
Of course, it's on soil beds, ancient soil beds.
Yes.
So that is obviously going to be reflected in the wine, just like all wines are a reflection of the terroir. But man, 'tis the season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Happy spring.
Yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned, because I looked down yesterday and literally it looked like the grass turned green overnight. It was time.
And I've got some daffodils that have already stopped blooming. It's been so rapid. And of course, I just love this time of year. I love seeing everything emerge from its dormancy. It's exciting.
Yeah. And there's going to be a lot of fun the first couple of weeks in the yard, and then after that it's going to be
all burden.
Can I pay someone to do this, please?
It's all burden.
Well, let's move on to the red. We got a beauty here from Luigi Bosca out of Argentina, and this is kind of the flagship grape of Argentina, Malbec. Originally a French varietal, Well, it still is a French varietal. But
It didn't change.
no, but most people identify, or at least the Malbecs they drink, are from Argentina. You don't see a lot of Malbecs coming out of France anymore. They have kind of, I don't know if they've fallen out of favor or they were making so much money off the other grapes that kind of got forgotten about.
Do you think they threw in the towel? It's just like, we're not messing with the South American grape anymore. Even though it's theirs.
Yeah, right.
It's like, well, they've kind of planted their flag. It's their thing. We still may have some from blending, but
yeah, that might be. I mean, they do have a certain air about them.
Mm-hmm.
So I could definitely see them doing that.
I could see them doing that too.
Yeah, but we still have Cahors. Cahors is the last great region for Malbec in France, and we do enjoy those as well.
And I would imagine Cahors is probably selling a lot of their Malbec around France for blending.
Could
selling
be.
their juice for blending.
Could be. Boy, I hope this is beautiful. So Luigi Bosca been doing it for well over 100 years. Families from Spain and Italy came together in Argentina to produce these beautiful wines, highly regarded, high scores, tradition. They have vast holdings. They have 7 different holdings across the great country of Argentina. And if you don't know, Argentina is a very large country. It's 4 times
massive.
Yeah, it's 4 times the size of France. So
massive.
A lot of growth potential.
And very diverse. I don't think people. I mean, Argentina. I mean, their cattle holdings would rival anyone. I mean, so they have these great vast plains. They have these amazing mountain ranges. They have these gorgeous. I mean, it's such a huge, diverse country. I mean, it's like 5 countries in one.
Right.
It's a lot like America, where a lot of countries don't have all that vast diversity.
Right.
You'll have some diversity, but in the topography, but not on such a large scale.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it all there.
And when they continue to produce great wines as they do, they're going to be a player for a very long time, and they are going to be a bigger player.
They've earned it.
And when you can get land at a fraction of the price there, as you can in other great winemaking countries, I mean, like, who can afford to buy anything in Napa or Bordeaux or Burgundy? You can't. And so people are looking for places where they can start a great winery for generations to come. As a matter of fact, the grandchildren and great grandchildren are still running this winery. So even though it's quite a much larger operation now, and we actually have had great experience with this winery in the past. We had their cab on the list for up until COVID hit. It was one of our cabs by the glass, and very old world in style, which I really like. You see that they have diversity within their portfolio. This, however, is a very new world style. It is plush. It has beautiful oak influence, tons of vanilla, dark fruits here. And the reason why people are so attracted to Malbec and why that section in your stores continues to grow is because you get all the fruit that you would get from Cab without the intense tannins, which a lot of people aren't so fond of. So if you're looking for something that's not quite so chewy or so aggressive on the palate, Malbec could be the grape for you.
And it should be the grape for you. I mean, not to tell you what to drink, but I mean, of all the things that people love that come to the tastings and that enjoy your offerings, I mean, Malbec has it. Yeah, has it all.
So good.
Bitter chocolate, dark fruit, luscious, silky finish. But it's big on the front with a silky finish. I mean, it's got it all. And I love that Malbec keeps gaining rows at the retail and the wine shops and in the grocery store. I actually bought some Malbec last night. I was looking for a specific thing in another section, and I was like, well, let's look over. They normally only have 2, and it's like yellow cake or layer cake and something else.
Right.
And and they had 14 different Malbecs. I was thrilled. And I bought a couple to reward that. and will continue to do so. But I was thrilled at all the different, and of course had the Alamos and and all that stuff. But,
Yeah.
which I love too.
Catania.
Catania,
Yeah.
the pioneer.
Mm-hmm.
Also, again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Mendoza in this area really has this ideal water situation where they're getting the snow runoff.
Yeah, alluvial. Yes,
Yes, and
the
they're
term
getting
is alluvial.
there
Yes,
where
but it is.
It's not
snow-capped.
rainfall.
Right.
It's the best kind of water, which is melted snow, which is full of nitrogen and nutrients and all this thing, and it comes down the mountain
into a very arid place.
into a very arid place, and so it's better than irrigation. It's better than rain. It's just perfect. It doesn't happen many places in the world, and especially where vineyards are planted. And
yeah, and there's a lot of places in Argentina that average somewhere between 2 and 4 inches of rain. Well, obviously nothing of any anything that you'd want to eat or drink can live off of
who
that.
wants another scorpion?
Yeah, you need about 20 inches roughly for a vine a year, and they can handle up to about 40. And after that, it's just they're going to be too diluted. So if you can control the exact amount of rain or water actually to the vine, you have a huge advantage.
Huge, and it's naturally occurring, which is tremendous.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this isn't treated water. It's naturally just rolling down those high mountains.
And Argentina is relatively undeveloped. You don't have
Right.
all the
There's
problems.
I think there's only like 40 million people that live in that massive area.
Massive areas, so it's not like the problems that you have in California and France and Spain with these huge cities and overdevelopment and harvesting of resources.
It's like they're
that
intruding
change.
on each other.
Yeah, and
The cities are trying to expand, and the vineyards are trying to expand.
and there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, and so
and they're damming the rivers and they're cutting the forests and there's overdevelopment everywhere and you got Argentina's got it working.
Yeah, they're in a sweet spot.
Unspoiled section of the world, and we obviously want to, we have more of that. It's beautiful.
Well, this is another case of, terroir matters, and so because of their ability to have plenty of water at their fingertips, and to not have to concern themselves with hail or oversaturation of rain. Also, molds.
Oh God! All the diseases
all the
that come with overabundance
viruses
of rain.
in dry areas they don't thrive in these areas.
They don't want to be there either.
We're talking about less chemicals being sprayed. We're talking you have the chance to be more organic and biodynamic and using more natural things. Now, not everywhere has that privilege because moisture, feeds all those things.
Well, and you have to be sensible.
Yeah.
Not everyone. You have to be sensible, but it's nice when you have a natural advantage where you don't have to be so aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, bottom line is, you're going to have a more pure. Theoretically, you should have a more pure beverage in your glass. And of course, it doesn't hurt that because it's so inexpensive for land down there, that keeps the prices down for us. Even on these premium bottles, we're still less than $25 a bottle. And, you can't beat that. You can't do that so much in Napa. Not so much.
Well, you can't get a bad wine in Napa for 25. I mean, wholesale.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they're just not there. And this is drinking
It's
3 times over its price point.
Yep. And so, what this that cocoa that you brought up is really showing.
It's blooming.
I'm starting to get some like a little candy cherry in there. There's blackberries and blueberries all over it, but there's some other stuff kind of emerging from this. Absolutely beautiful.
I make a tart out of bittersweet chocolate, and while I'm making it, I sit there and pop, a couple of chips.
Sure.
You know, there's not a lot of sugar in the bittersweet. You know, it's really, really dark chocolate. And, I mean, this is like that
Right.
melted.
Right.
But with all the other beautiful accoutrement with it. But,
Right.
it's working.
So, I guess since we're talking food, what do you want to throw at this?
Oh, we're just going to do a little Wagyu shepherd's pie.
Oh, is that all?
That's all. Yeah, no, nothing to see
It's like
here.
a $30,000 shepherd's pie.
That's all. Who loves our people?
It must be nice.
Must be nice to be a customer at Old North State.
Watching videos,
Drinking
great
wine, eating Wagyu shepherd pie.
Spoiled.
Spoiled rotten. That's how we gonna do it.
Well, if you have one of those,
So I did a tester on the family unit Monday, but not with Wagyu. I did just some stuff I got at Lowe's. Although I did mix in, you know, I had some ground lamb, which I'm so glad they carry ground lamb.
Yeah.
I did a lamb, pork, and beef.
nice.
And did a ragu out of that, and did a big pan of it with the mashed potatoes. So, but we're gonna do just strictly the Wagyu. But you know, of course, on our potatoes, we shave in a little of the Chapel Hill creamery cheese and
Nice.
melt that in with our cream to whip our potatoes with, again, some Kaizen eggs. And so it's going to be really elegant. And we've got these beautiful little tart shells we make out of lard, because that's how it should cook with lard.
Absolutely. All the great things are.
All the great things with this great wine. It's going to be a heck of a night with the scallop and the Sav Blanc and the emulsion.
Yep, and sounds like we're going to have a great week ahead of us, Chef.
Another great week. Well, we are blessed,
Yeah.
my friends.
Yeah, we've been hustling through COVID,
Yep.
and it's paid off, and now we're kind of seeing that light at the end of the tunnel.
Seeing a little bit of light. We're seeing that we're seeing a lot of people tourism, especially on the weekends, and we're seeing our regular again. We're just seeing people coming out of their cocoons. It's been a long, cold winter. It's been a long, cold year.
Yeah.
And mentally and physically and financially, it's been a very challenge. And I just think you can just feel it everywhere you go. I mean, not just here at the winery. Everywhere you go, there's a lightness.
Yeah, I agree.
Where people are, and we just feel like there's a lot of good things happening right now, and I'm excited to be a part of what we're doing here, and for our neighbors and friends, that things are just getting a little easier.
Absolutely. And we look forward to serving
Lighter.
everybody. Yeah, we look forward to serving everybody here, whether it's for pickup for family meals, which I'm really looking forward to that brisket tomorrow.
Oh
Chef.
gosh, we got the Painted Hills brisket.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. Of course, we adore Painted Hills and support them every way we can. We've got some gorgeous North Carolina pork on Friday night. We're going to be doing a beautiful herb crust on it, and then of course our honey soy glazed salmon on Saturday, which
That's
is
been a
always real
huge
hot.
hit.
Huge pot.
We didn't used to do a lot of family meals on Saturday until you started doing salmon, and now
Well, it seems like that's the one. That's kind of the
Yeah,
thing
for the
People
weekend.
want
It's
some
like a
fish.
weekend
Yeah,
kind of thing.
They do love that, and of course we want to do what you love. So.
That's right. Well, thanks everybody for your support.
And your time.
Yeah, and your time. And I hope you've enjoyed this as much as we enjoyed doing it for you. And one last little thing I want to shout out, because between now and the next show, I'll be seeing my dad for his birthday. And I just want to wish Ed Badgett Jr. I'm the third. I just want to wish him a happy birthday, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of days.
Happy birthday. I wish I were with him. There may be some buckets in the third's car for you as a birthday treat. And we really miss you, Ed, and I hope to see you soon.
All right, y'all take care out there.
Bye-bye. Thanks again for all.